In this lesson, we'll learn about the significance of selection filters and display layers in the rigging process. If we're ready to animate our airship, if we were to do a quick marquee selection, notice we're not only grabbing our animation control, but several other pieces of the ship also. Now this can be an issue simply because as we start to set keyframes, we're setting keyframes on multiple objects when we only really want to add animation to our animation control. That's the purpose for it. So one way we can avoid this is to use selection filters. We can go ahead and choose, let's say, curve under the drop down. And now, as we do another marquee selection, we're only grabbing our animation control. Great. Now let's say if you wanted to go back and grab pieces of your ship, let's say if the mesh needed to be edited for whatever reason. Well, no problem at all. You'd simply go back to your selection filter and you can set this to, let's say, geometry, or another one is to use scene object, which will allow you to go back and grab everything in the scene, or to revert back to your original selection tool, simply go ahead and choose object under select. Now another thing we can explore is display layers. Let's go ahead and hit 6 on our keyboard. So we have a few layers already in our scene. I believe one of these, display layer 2, really doesn't do too much for us. If we were to go ahead and toggle the visibility box, you'll see that nothing disappears. So that said, we could always remove this layer. So to do so, we want to first make it active by clicking on the box to the left of it, of the name. Now we can go to layers and choose delete layer. So that kind of cleans things up a little bit more. Let's go ahead and test the visibility box of layer default 1. Okay, so you can see that the ship is underneath that layer. If we were to hide it, you'll see that a few other objects needed to be added to that layer. No problem at all. To add to a layer, again, we want to make it active. Select the objects to add and choose layers, move selection to current layer. Okay, great. So at this point, it's a good idea to keep the default layer active, the one at the top, because as you start to add objects, they're going to be tied to your active layer. So if we add animation controls, we don't want them added to our ship mesh layer. Just to make this more descriptive, let's go ahead and rename layer default 1 to ship mesh, just so you know what is contained inside. Alright, so with everything selected, once we've double clicked, we'll name it just that, ship mesh underscore layer. Great. Now a really neat tool to find out what objects are contained in the layer is to simply right click and choose explore layers right at the bottom. Now you'll see that the display in the Explorer has been set to layers, and we can go ahead and check out our ship mesh layer, expand that, and there are all of our objects. Feel free to switch this back from layer to scene root to see all of the objects and things like that in the Explorer. Great. So in this lesson, we have learned how important selection filters and display layers are in the rigging process. Again, a great way to just get right in and select what needs to be selected for animation.